According to the Dispatch, sports gambling in America has grown into a $14 billion industry, with nearly half of men age 18 to 49 now betting regularly. Yet the public is souring. 58% want aggressive federal regulation, and two-thirds support the Safe Bet Act. The scale of today's access is astonishing. In the 1960s, if you wanted to gamble legally, you typically had to hop a plane to Las Vegas, which had fewer than 50 casinos. Today, sports betting is legal in more than 30 states. And if you carry a casino in your pocket, and yes, you do carry a casino in your pocket with your smartphone. And it's not just private sports books fueling this culture. State governments themselves aggressively market lotteries, often targeting working class communities. Americans spent nearly $110 billion on lottery tickets in 2023, making it the most popular form of gambling in the country. States spent hundreds of millions of dollars annually on advertising to keep people buying those tickets. The result? Addiction has nearly quadrupled since sports betting was legalized in 2018. Debt and bankruptcies are rising, and the calls for reform are growing. Okay, let's be honest here, folks. What's the real message here? The message our society is sending people, especially young men, is you don't need to work. You don't need a new skill. You don't need a job. Just bet on the next football game, baseball game, basketball game, and you'll be rich. And you know what? It is the biggest lie out there. People who bet on sports, by and large, are losers. And if they bet a high percentage of their income or their net worth, they're big time losers. Okay, let's dig a little deeper here. This is a bizarre cancer on our economy, our culture, and our society. It's hard to even watch a sporting event without being bombarded with familiar, friendly faces, respected athletes, coaches, saying, come on in, come into the water, join us. This gambling thing is really fun. Of course, we have to call it gaming. We can't call it gambling. And it's permeated every part of our culture. It used to be people could actually watch a football game and care about who won because they like the team. Now it's about, oh boy, they better win or I can't pay rent. They better win or my kid's not going to be able to eat next week. Because of all the money I lost last week betting on the wrong team, I got to get this team, this win right with my bet today. And it's bizarre. The addiction rates are skyrocketing. According to Bulwark, there are 2.5 severe cases of gambling addiction in America, 5 to 8 million moderate cases. Bankruptcies are skyrocketing. And a lot of critics are now saying this is like big tobacco. It gets you hooked, it gets you addicted, it sucks the life out of you. In one case, literally with your health and your lung capacity, but the other, your economic life is sucked right out of you, in which case a lot of people do frankly kill themselves. You lose too many sports games, you're bankrupt, especially if you have family depending on you. And a lot of people think, let me just kill myself, be less of a loser for my family. 58% want strong regulation, two-thirds back this legislation called the Safe Bet Act. The problem is all these gambling companies are now really doling out the cash in the form of campaign contributions to politicians on both parties. This is a bipartisan problem. Let's not kid ourselves. Now, look, I'm not a prude. I understand some people like to bet. I personally don't really see the appeal to it, but have I ever gone to a casino and played blackjack? Sure, I have. Have I ever played a slot machine? A couple, and I really do mean a couple. But to me, the gateway drug for all of this is as horrific as sports gambling is today in the world. And I do think it's a tremendous blight on our culture, our economy, especially for young men. The gateway drug I see is the lottery ticket. Now, I understand you may like lottery tickets. You may think what I'm about to say is condescending, but as a 19th century wit once said, the lottery is a tax on the stupid. It's a tax on the stupid and the uneducated. I'm going to get some flack for this. I'm going to call it like I see it. I'm not trying to be politically correct here or pander to everyone. I'm going to say, if you buy lottery tickets, you're not very bright. You're not really understanding math. You don't really understand statistical odds. So I beg you, the next time you want to buy a lottery ticket, take that money and just throw it down the garbage can. Throw it down your toilet. You'll be pretty much as successful. It's just completely irrational. Well, but TJ, I know somebody who won. Guess what? You know thousands of people who lost, because anyone who has ever played the lottery, in general, is a lifetime loser. They may have won $10 occasionally. They may have won $100. They may have won $1,000 occasionally, but lifetime lottery people get a lot more from it. So now we have a culture where young men see their parents buying lottery tickets once a week. They start to gain an interest as a child, a teen. Now let's say they're 19 years old. They like sports, and their favorite football coach is urging them to go on to this sports betting app. And why not? My parents gamble all the time. They buy lottery tickets. That's gambling. I like sports. All my friends are doing it. Let's do it. And before you know it, we're seeing a generation of people, especially young men, with this sports gambling, although not exclusively, where everything is about, oh, let me buy Bitcoin. Let me buy this cryptocurrency. Let me buy this meme stock. Let me gamble it on the game. Let me buy a lottery ticket. Everything is a lifelong gamble. Meanwhile, nobody's actually learning real skill. I don't mean to say nobody, but we are losing millions of people in our culture, millions of young men. You look at how they are faring so poorly compared to young women who don't seem to get sucked up into this. So young women, let me give you some credit. I don't want to sound like I'm pandering, but let's face it, you are smarter than a lot of young men, because most of you are not working for a job, taking that money and then gambling it all on the odds that a team, you somehow think you have inside information that team is going to beat the spread. I mean, the presumptuousness, the arrogance of thinking not only who's going to win, who's going to lose, but by how many points they're going to win or lose by, is absolutely delusional. Okay, some of you are saying, well, TJ, you're just being a snob, and I do it just for fun, and it's less than 1% of my income, and you might like to go to see Broadway shows or opera. I like gambling, and I've got it under control. Okay, fine. Let's make sure we keep it under control, because for millions, according to these statistics, 2.5 million people have severe gambling addiction problems, and it's destroying their life. I have one former associate where I've been led to believe that is the reason he took his own life, because of excessive gambling debts and the shame it took in his life. Now, back to the feeder drug, which doesn't get talked about as much. I still remember the very day that the lottery went into effect in Florida. I had just moved there. This is the first time. I moved there in 1986, and the lottery went into effect. I can't remember if it was that year or the next year. And I'm there at the state capitol where I was working with a politician I was working for. And the very first tickets were sold that day. And the guy who with his ticket turned to my boss and said, "Hey, did I win? I can't read. Tell me what it says." Sounds like a cliche, but it really did happen. Now, I do have one confession for you, and you're going to say I'm a hypocrite, but I've actually won the lottery. And I don't mean metaphorically, I mean literally. Back in the late 1980s, I was regularly hosting a talk radio show talking about how awful the lottery tickets are and the state lottery. And my producer for my talk show bought me a lottery ticket. It was a $1 ticket. I didn't pay for it, and it did in fact win. It won $2. So I consider myself lucky. I am up. I'm net positive on the lottery. One other gambling story I will share with you. For my 40th birthday and a friend's 40th birthday, we went to a casino, Foxwoods in Connecticut. Had a boys' weekend celebrating our respective 40th birthdays. My friend liked to play blackjack, and he's a responsible gambler. And believe me, he's never won or lost anything close to even 0.001% of his net worth. So he wanted to play blackjack. I thought, okay, I'll participate. I put down $20, lost. Put down another $20, lost. Put down another $20, lost. And I said, this is the least fun I've ever had in my life. And I said, I'm out. And it was about 20 minutes into the 2.5-day boys weekend at the casino. So then I went to the bar, waited for my friend, and there was a video poker game. And this was at a time when Bill Bennett, a very prominent right-wing scold, prominent official from the Reagan administration, who'd gotten rich writing books about how immoral Democrats were because they didn't have personal control and didn't believe in traditional moral values. It had just come out that this guy had lost like $6 million playing video poker. And everyone thought, what a hypocrite, what a fool. So in honor of Bill Bennett and to mock him, I said, okay, I'll play a little video poker. I put a quarter in, lost. I put another quarter in, lost. I put another quarter in, lost. I put one more quarter in. All of a sudden, ching, 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 1,000 quarters came out of this video poker machine. And I got to tell you, I felt euphoric. That was so incredibly exciting. It was intoxicating, but I got to tell you, it was profoundly scary. I said to myself, wow, I really see how someone could get addicted to this and not in a good way. And I did not gamble anymore that weekend, or really trying to think maybe ever again. And I went home that weekend. I had taken a bus there, dinner, meals, hotel. I got home, opened up my wallet, and I had $6 more when I got home than when I left. And I said to myself, this makes me a winner because very few people actually come home from a trip to the casino with more money than they left. And I decided at that point, let's just stop right there and call it a win for my own record. And I say that not to brag because that's a ridiculously small amount. I say that as a warning to all of us, myself included. Let's not get sucked in. There's too much gambling. If you like football, just watch football. If you like soccer, root for your team. This idea that you need all this supercharged extra excitement of whether or not you're going to win $1 million or $2,000 or $500, it's not healthy. It's really, really not constructive. And ultimately, it's corrosive. It sends a clear message from society. Don't worry about a work ethic. Don't worry about building real skills. Don't worry about developing clients, customers, prospects. Don't worry about starting a business. Just do it the easy way. Place a bet on Bitcoin. Place a bet on the bills. Bet. And hey, we're all big winners, right? No. They build those big casinos because they take in a lot more money than they give out. They're able to pay these celebrities, these star athletes, and these coaches millions and millions of dollars to appear in the ads because they take your money and give it to them. It's a transfer from essentially stupid people, sorry if that sounds condescending, to people who are already rich. Why do you want to do that?